Hey guys, welcome to video 3 of week 2, Mindset Mastery. Today we're just going to be going over the concept of a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And to get us started with that, I'm going to start a video that I found that's pretty helpful in describing what a fixed mindset is and what a growth mindset is. And it's based off of research from this psychologist named Carol Dweck. So let's jump into it.
Daniel here from Next Level Life. You know, I've always found it interesting how some people seem to succeed despite very difficult circumstances, and then some people don't, even when they seem to have everything going for them from an early age. There's been a lot of theories thrown around as to why that is, but I've never really felt satisfied with the answers. Probably because there is no simple answer. So what really makes people successful? If it's not their upbringing, and it's not their education or economic background, then what is it? Well, like I said, there's not going to be a simple, singular answer that this one video can cover because there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I believe that one of the big factors behind why people either succeed or don't succeed is their mindset. In essence, your attitude determines your altitude. And with that in mind, today I'm going to be covering Carol Dweck's theory on growth versus fixed mindsets. I'm going to be talking about what they are, how they're different, as well as how much of a difference having a growth mindset can have on your life. I'm also going to be talking about how to change to a growth mindset if you're currently in a fixed mindset. Let's get started. So the basic difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is that a fixed mindset assumes that our character, intelligence, and creative abilities are static. Whether good or bad, they're all seen as just a given. You either got it or you don't. So basically, we can't change in any meaningful ways, and success is just the affirmation of that inherent intelligence that we already possess. It's an assessment of how those givens measure up against an equally fixed standard, which in this case is success or failure. For example, did you answer the question right or were you wrong? That's all that matters, and oftentimes those with fixed mindsets will psychologically sort of tune out the correct answer if they learn that they initially had the wrong answer. So those with fixed mindsets do strive for success, but above all, they also strive to avoid failure, as a way of maintaining that sense of being inherently smart or skilled. Whereas someone with a growth mindset actually thrives on challenges and sees failure not as evidence that they are unintelligent, but rather as a springboard for growth and stretching their existing abilities to improve upon them. These two mindsets manifest themselves from a very early age, and they lead to a great deal of our behaviors and our relationships with success and failure, both personally and professionally. And ultimately, they even have an effect on our capacity for happiness. There's a great picture that I found that really illustrates the differences between these two mindsets, and I'll put it up on the screen for you now. As you can see, fixed mindsets lead to a desire to look smart, and as a result, someone with it tends to avoid challenges and give up easily when they run into obstacles. Effort is just seen as fruitless or worse, and when someone with a fixed mindset receives constructive criticism, they tend to ignore that useful negative feedback. They also tend to feel threatened by the success of others, and as a result of their deterministic view of the world, they may plateau early in life and fail to achieve their full potential. A growth mindset, on the other hand, leads to a desire to learn, and therefore, people with growth mindsets tend to embrace challenge and persist in the face of setbacks. They see effort as the path to get to mastery, and they learn from criticism when they receive it. And as a result of this, they tend to find lessons and inspiration in the success of others, and reach even higher levels of achievement, giving them greater sense of free will, because they know that they determine their destiny. To illustrate the differences between the two mindsets further, consider this example. During Dweck's research, she conducted a study with 4-year-olds because, yes, as it turns out, the mindsets are rooted in us that young, and in the study, Dweck and her colleagues gave a classroom of 4-year-olds a jigsaw puzzle, and a very easy one at that, and they all finished it, of course. But after they finished it, they were offered a choice. They could either redo the easy jigsaw puzzle that they had just done, or try a new and harder one. And those that showed tendencies towards fixed mindsets stayed on the safe side and chose the easier puzzle that would affirm their already existing abilities. The kids were essentially telling the researchers that their belief was that the smart kids don't make mistakes, whereas those kids with growth mindsets thought it was an odd choice to begin with because why would anyone want to do the same puzzle over and over again if they aren't learning anything? In the end, they chose to tackle the harder puzzle. In other words, the fixed mindset kids wanted to make sure that they succeeded in order to seem smart, whereas the growth mindset kids wanted to stretch themselves. because their definition of success was about becoming smarter. Now, that is a pretty small example. I mean, we're talking about jigsaw puzzles from 4-year-olds, for goodness sakes. But think about how that view of the world would affect your life if what was revealed in that example actually carried over. How would your career go differently if you only ever tried to do things you already knew you could do, in order to appear smart rather than actually doing things that challenged yourself in order to make you become smarter? You may actually end up getting recognized with a fixed mindset early on because everything you seem to do turns to gold, right? I mean, you're only doing the things you already know you can achieve, but what happens when you get that promotion and suddenly you're faced with challenges that you don't already know how to overcome? What do you do then? You're not going to be asking questions because with that fixed view of the world, you would think that it makes you seem unintelligent. And remember, according to this worldview, smart people don't make mistakes. And effort is, again, fruitless or worse because we can't change in any meaningful ways, at least according to the fixed mindset. But believe it or not, it actually goes further than that. Let's take a look at our relationships. In her studies, Dweck found that people with fixed mindsets believed that their ideal mate would be one that put them on a pedestal and made them feel like they were perfect. Whereas those with growth mindsets prefer a partner that would recognize their faults and lovingly help them to improve. They wanted someone who would encourage them to learn new things and become a better person. It was also found that people with fixed mindsets would feel rather threatened and maybe even hostile after talking about minor discrepancies about how their partner and they saw their relationship. Which leads me to believe that having a fixed mindset would probably actually lead to a lot more stressful of a life. I mean, we know the health hazards that can come along with having too much stress in our lives, but perhaps the most destructive of all of Dweck's findings, at least when it comes to relationships, is the belief that if the relationship requires work to function, then the people with fixed mindsets are a little more likely to believe that something is terribly wrong with the relationship itself. And any discrepancy of opinions or preferences is a result of character flaws on behalf of one's partner. Wow. I don't even think I have to go into how that view could ruin many a relationship if true. So if you have a fixed mindset and want to develop a growth mindset, how do you do it? Well, it's one of those things that's very easy to say but much harder to do. And it all starts with recognizing your fixed mindset tendencies and becoming conscious of what makes you fall into viewing the world purely through that binary trap of success and failure. And whenever that happens, remind yourself that that is what's happening, and that you're getting something wrong or not being able to accomplish something right off the bat is not a sign of failure. It's just another learning experience. Remember, the whole idea behind a growth mindset is that you're always trying to improve, you're always trying to learn, and challenges and obstacles are what give you the chance to do that. There's one quote that I always use to remind myself that facing these challenges were a good thing when I was trying to change to a growth mindset. It was an old quote from a Michael Jordan commercial, and it went like this: "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." So that's the fixed and growth mindsets, at least as studied by Carol Dweck. If you like this video or learned something, be sure to like and subscribe.
So I hope that video was helpful. It's a very simple topic. A fixed mindset kind of sticks to the safe side of challenges. They avoid things that they don't know and avoid challenges that they don't think they could succeed in. Whereas the growth mindset welcomes challenges as opportunities to learn from and grow from. And the real thing is that we, in different areas of our life, we have a fixed and growth mindset. But the way that we could start working on this today is to start becoming more conscious and more aware of when those fixed mindsets show up in our life. So just to reiterate, your mindset not only impacts how you perceive the world around you, but also how you see yourself. You have certain mindsets about yourself and your abilities. Your mindset has a strong influence on your behaviors and can govern whether or not you pursue and therefore accomplish your goals. A fixed mindset is that we believe our qualities are carved into stone. There's nothing we could do about it. We can't change. This is who I am. I can't get any smarter. And an example is I'm just not good at this. A growth mindset, we believe that the qualities we are born with can change, can evolve, can adapt, can grow. And the idea, the statement to go with that is I can get better with practice. Two fundamentally different approaches to life's challenges and successes. And I just want to note that in Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, she goes over how very successful athletes or business owners and book writers and different kinds of people have a growth mindset, whereas people who like give up and don't accomplish their goals and that kind of stuff are exercising a fixed mindset. So pick one of these common fixed mindsets and write it down in your journal. So we'll just do a quick journal exercise just so we could practice rewriting a fixed mindset. But this is going to be something that is ultimately effective when you do it repetitively over time as it comes up in your life. And slowly over time, you can rewrite your mind to think more growth oriented, welcome challenges, see failure as an opportunity. And this will make achieving your goals a lot easier in your recovery. So grab your journals. We're going to pick one of these two fixed mindsets. So the first one is I am not good at, and then insert thing you're currently struggling with. Or if you can't think of anything, just put I am who I am and I can't change, because this is just going to be an exercise. So while you write that down, I'll read mine off because I did this earlier. I'll just do it again. I'm not good at speaking in my modules. Right. So this is one that pops up into my head every time I come to record a video. Is I'm not good at speaking in my classrooms on this online speaking. I'm constantly doubting myself. So what is something? Did you write it down? If you can't think of anything, just put I am who I am and I can't change. Okay. We'll move on to the next one. So what emotions come up when you think like this? And how can this thinking possibly affect your actions? So let's just put a scenario where you're doing the challenge and you say, I'm not good at this, right? Most likely what's going to come up is a type of defeat, a type of unmotivated feeling, and it will reflect in your actions. Maybe you'll procrastinate, maybe you'll push it off. And it does this prevent you from trying new things or persisting through challenges? And a lot of times our mind is the first thing that prevents us, and it's most of the time it's because it's in a fixed mindset, or it's presenting you with limited beliefs. So rewrite one of these fixed mindset statements to a growth mindset statement. Right, so mine is I can get better at speaking through practice. Again, if you just wrote the generic fixed mindset, you could replace it with I am a work in progress and I want to evolve constantly. Or I can learn anything with time and effort. Start letting this be kind of like a thought that you bring forward every time you see a challenge. I can do this. I may even fail right now, but I'll learn from that failure and I'll learn how to do it better next time. So how does reframing your fixed mindset to a growth mindset make you feel? We usually get a sense of increased motivation, resilience, and willingness to learn and try. And you can only imagine, like, if we do this repetitively, every time we have a fixed belief and a fixed mindset, over time we'll start rewriting those synapses like we talked about in the last video, and we'll start letting that be the default habitual thinking. And it works for us. It serves us. Even if we fail, it gives us the motivation to try again. It inspires us and lets us know that we're okay if we fail. It's life, and we could just keep going towards our goals. So that's it today. Very simple concept, fixed and growth mindset. What I want you to do is process this today, and throughout your day, look for when you're in a fixed and growth mindset and label it. Am I in a fixed mindset right now? I don't want to do this thing. I'm not good at this thing. Why am I doing this thing? And then try to reframe it. How can I turn this into a learning opportunity? How can I make this a growth mindset? So start being conscious of that. And in the next video, we'll go over limited beliefs, which is a type of fixed thinking, but it's not just success and challenge oriented like fixed mindset and growth mindset. It comes in the form of all kinds of false beliefs that we tell ourselves that we've been living with that actually are preventing us from growing. Okay? So celebrate yourself throughout this process. And remember, you're taking the time to invest in yourself. You will gain the positive changes in your life if you do the exercises, if you apply it in your everyday life, and you and your loved ones will see the benefits of it. All right, see you in the next video and in the community.